Watch this program run. Smooth, alive. And then, nothing. Everything freezes. The whole screen just stops, mid-motion for a fraction of a second. That freeze isn't a bug. It's a janitor. Every so often, your program stops the entire world so something can quietly walk through its memory and sweep out the garbage. Then it hands the world back like nothing happened. For decades, almost every program with a garbage collector made the same silent bargain. Run smooth for a while, then freeze completely while the collector cleans house. And the bigger your memory got, the longer that freeze lasted. Engineers spent years, literally decades, trying to make that freeze disappear. The part nobody mentions up front, they didn't optimize the pause away, they redesigned the entire problem. And that redesign came with a price. Let's talk about what actually froze and what it cost to unfreeze it. First, let's name the thing. A garbage collector is the part of your runtime that reclaims memory your program is done with automatically, so you never have to free it by hand. In Java, in Go, in C#, in JavaScript, it's always running in the background, keeping the floor clean. The problem is how it used to clean. The classic collectors had a mode called Stop the World. To safely figure out which objects were still in use, the collector had to pause your program completely. Every thread frozen, nobody moving while the janitor works. For a small program, you'd never notice. A pause of a few milliseconds once in a while. Invisible. But scale it up and the freeze starts to bite in very specific places. Scenario 1. A user interface. The app freezes for a quarter of a second while you're scrolling. You feel it. It stutters. That's a GC pause you just watched with your own eyes. Scenario 2. A real-time system. Trading, telecom, anything where late is the same as wrong. A pause there is a missed deadline. A trade that arrived after the price already moved. Scenario 3. A big server holding millions of live connections, sitting on a heap of tens of gigabytes. And the cruel part, with the old collectors, the pause grew with the size of the heap. More memory to scan meant a longer freeze. The very thing that made your server powerful, all that RAM, made the freeze worse. On the worst days, on the biggest heaps, those pauses weren't milliseconds. They were hundreds of milliseconds, sometimes full seconds. Imagine your entire service holding its breath for a second, over and over, just to take out the trash. That was normal. That was accepted for 25 years. So the obvious question is, why stop the world at all? Why not just let the janitor clean while the program keeps running? Because it's genuinely hard. And I want you to feel why, not just take my word for it. Your program's memory is a web of objects pointing at other objects. To collect garbage, the collector has to walk that web and figure out what's still reachable. But if the program is running at the same time, the program is rewriting that web while the collector is reading it. New objects appear. Old references vanish. Pointers change mid-scan. It's like trying to count everyone in a building while people are walking in and out through every door, and someone keeps rearranging the walls behind you. Miss one person, and you either free memory that's still in use, which crashes your program, or you keep garbage forever and slowly leak until you die. And it gets worse. A good collector doesn't just find garbage, it also moves the survivors. It compacts them together to keep memory tidy and fast. But if you move an object while the program still holds a pointer to its old address, that pointer now points at nothing, or worse, at the wrong thing. Move an object mid-run, and every reference to it has to be updated atomically, with the program actively using those exact references at that exact moment. That's the wall. Cleaning while running is a concurrency problem, one of the hardest in all of systems programming. Stopping the world was never laziness. It was the safe answer. Freezing everything was how you guaranteed nobody moved the walls while you counted. Work like this. Breaking down the machinery underneath the tools we use every day is what this channel exists to do, and Patreon is what keeps it independent. If that's worth something to you, the link's below. Now back to the wall. For years, the answer was just better freezes, shorter pauses, smarter scheduling. But the freeze stayed. Then a different class of collector arrived, ZGC in the Java world, and its cousin Shenandoah, and they didn't chase a shorter freeze. They attacked the freeze itself. Here's the headline number, and it's real. ZGC brings the pause down to a fraction of a millisecond, typically around a tenth to a half of a millisecond, not per gigabyte, total. And what broke everyone's assumptions was this, that pause stays flat no matter how big the heap gets. 10 gigabytes, 100, multiple terabytes. The freeze does not grow. How? They did the impossible thing from Chapter 2. They collect and move objects while your program keeps running. The trick has two pieces, and you don't need the internals, just the shape of it. First, colored pointers. The collector stores a little extra information right inside the memory addresses themselves, marking the state of each object. Second, load barriers. Every time your program reads an object, a tiny check runs alongside it. If the object was moved, that check quietly fixes your pointer, on the spot, without stopping anyone. The walls can move now because every door has a guard that catches you and points you the right way. In modern Java, you don't even fight for this anymore. You flag it on, the flag you see on screen, and the generational version of ZGC is now the standard mode. The older non-generational one was deprecated and removed. This is the default answer now, not an experiment. But remember what I promised in the beginning. They didn't make the freeze free. They moved the cost. All those colored pointers, all those guards at every door, all the extra bookkeeping to move objects safely while the world keeps spinning, that runs on something. ZGC needs a noticeably bigger heap than a manual memory scheme would ever ask for, plus a slice of your CPU spent on those load barriers. You buy a flat, invisible pause. You pay for it in memory and a little throughput. It's not magic, it's a trade. A different trade than the old one, but a trade all the same. The freeze didn't disappear. It moved into memory where you're a lot less likely to notice it. 1/10 of a millisecond is nothing. For almost everything you'll ever build, it's the end of the story. Ship it and forget the freeze ever existed. Almost everything. But there's a class of system where even that fraction of a millisecond is too much. And they don't take ZGC's trade at all. They refuse to have a garbage collector in the first place. In an earlier video, I showed you Tiger Beetle, a database that does 1 million transactions a second, written in Zig, with no garbage collector anywhere. And now you can see exactly why that's not stubbornness. A financial ledger clearing millions of transactions can't afford a guard at every memory access, or a heap that quietly balloons, or a pause it didn't schedule, even one measured in 1/10 of a millisecond. At that scale, unpredictable is the enemy. Not slow, unpredictable. So they choose the oldest trade of all. They manage memory by hand, they give up the safety net of automatic collection, they take on the burden of doing it themselves, and in exchange, there is no janitor, no freeze, no hidden RAM, nothing they didn't ask for. And that's the real shape of this whole thing. There was never a free version. The old collectors paid with time, the freeze. ZGC pays with space, the memory. And the systems at the very edge pay with human effort. They do it themselves. 3 prices for the same problem. You don't get to skip the bill. You only get to choose which currency. The pause that haunted software for 25 years didn't get optimized. It got redesigned, and then, for the systems that couldn't even afford the redesign, refused entirely. That's the thread running under all of it. The smoothest improvements are usually the ones you're paying for somewhere you haven't looked. And if you've spent your career trusting the runtime to handle memory so you'd never have to think about it, you were right to. It's one of the best trades in computing. Just don't mistake it for free. This is exactly the mechanism that one video mentioned in passing, the one that started this whole investigation. It asked how a 5 GHz processor from today can still lose to a computer from 1983. This freeze and this trade is one of the pieces it left on the table. Go watch it. Why 5 GHz processors can't beat 1983 computers. That's where all of this ties together.